I don't believe that we should ever have a good money again before we take the thing out of the hands of government.
Yo! Today is November 7th, 2022. Welcome to Simply Bitcoin Live, your number one source for the peaceful Bitcoin revolution. We cover breaking news, culture, memetic warfare. We will be your guide through the separation of money and state. Speaking about the separation of money and state, huge news from Lebanon. And it's what we've been saying, this message that we've been saying for you guys for a minute. The number one incentive for Bitcoin adoption is people adopting Bitcoin out of necessity versus how it is in most developed countries. People adopt Bitcoin for more speculative reasons. And that's exactly what we're seeing in Lebanon. Their financial system, their fiat currency has collapsed. People lost their savings, all their life savings, snap of a finger. And now people are seeking alternatives because it's a matter of life and death. It's a matter of whether I will be able to put food on the table or whether I will not be able to put food on the table. That's where it's at right now. And the way that they look at it, right? And Venezuelans look at it very similarly, Argentinians, and in fact, any person that lives in a country that has crazy inflation rates, in my opinion, that's the right way you should be looking at it, because your stable fiat currency is giving you a false sense of safety. It is still stealing from you. Even if we bring it back down to that magical 2% number, it's still 2% theft, right? And people got to wake up to that. And unfortunately, the way that people wake up the most is if their local fiat currency fails in the first place. Now, the bright side of this is, do I think people in Lebanon are ever going to go trust their government with money? I don't think so. I think that once you open that door, non-government, peer-to-peer, cap supply, censorship resistant, I think it's going to be very hard to convince the Lebanese people to go back to where they started, specifically the younger generation that has spent less time in the fiat matrix. Also, we have a very special guest, Christian from Brains, and Opti is going to dedicate the culture segment to that.
Yes, sir. Well, yeah. You did the intro for me, bro. So we are talking all things Brains today in the culture, guys. I think you guys are going to love this one.
100%. Before we start the show, guys, I want to present our guest, Christian from Brains. How you doing, Christian?
Cheers, guys. Big pleasure to be on this show and meeting you at last. Very happy to tell you more about Brains and pitch in about some of the topics that we'll discuss, because, hey, I'm sitting in the middle of Europe, in developed country, you know, Prague. It's super nice here. We're thinking, oh, we're so far, we're so advanced. Our money is going to shit too, by the way. We have like 19% inflation, and just a few months ago we're at 6, and my mom was like, it's gonna end, you know. It's like, no, do you know how much they printed? And we're just starting, so it's not just about Lebanon. It's happening everywhere. So super happy to be here and pitch in.
Happy to have you guys. Brains is really interesting. It more on the minor front. We're gonna get to that. Basically, if you're not running Brains firmware, if you're still relying on that factory firmware, let's just say that's not a good idea. You gotta get onto Brains. And of course, we're gonna talk about other things as well. Really pumped for this show. Like Opti said earlier, guys, we are traveling to Los Angeles this week. So this is the only show we're gonna be doing until Thursday. On Thursday, we're gonna be doing a live Simply Bitcoin show from the Pacific Bitcoin Swan Dome, live in Los Angeles, California. It's going to be hyped. But unfortunately, because of all the traveling, Opti has to go back home today. I don't leave until tomorrow. It's going to be incredibly difficult to do a live show. But the good news, if you still want your Simply Bitcoin fix, you could tune in every single morning to Simply Bitcoin's Wake Up Call, hosted by our own Rustin. And he drops the sauce every single day. Get all the Bitcoin signal in 10 minutes or less. Definitely check it out. But anyways, let's start the show. Let's do this.
The Bitcoin numbers.
brought to you by NODL. At this point, you should be running your own Bitcoin node. If you don't use your own Bitcoin node, you're trusting someone else's. Run your own version of Bitcoin Core, the Lightning Network, Whirlpool, and Dojo, all from the comfort of your own home. And if you're a digital nomad, you have absolutely no excuse, because now you can run a NODL through a virtual private server. Visit nodl.eu today. All right, everybody. The Bitcoin price at the time of recording is 20,715 sats per dollar. We're at 4,827. Block height, 762,152. Reachable Bitcoin nodes are at 15,794. Blocks to the halving, 77,848. Halving estimate April 22nd, 2024. Total Lightning Network capacity is at 5,185. Capacity value, again, over 99 million. It's a good thing to see that, bro. Finally. We're sitting pretty at 107 million US dollars. I hope that number continues to go up. Realized monetary inflation, we're sitting at 1.77%. Continuing to take fiat currencies to absolute school. And of course, that realized monetary inflation, Bitcoins, is going to continue to get lower, especially when the halvings kick in. Market capitalization, we're sitting at 397 billion US dollars. In the grand scheme of things, in the grand scheme of the world's wealth, Bitcoin is still a tiny little baby. Anyway, so there's definitely a lot more room to grow is what I'm trying to say. Anyways, we have Mackenzie Sigalos. I hope I pronounced her last name correctly. She is a CNBC reporter, and she's been covering, she says in her bio, she says she covers tech, but she's been one of the best reporters for CNBC, covering a lot of the events that are going on with Bitcoin worldwide, right? She covered how, people in Afghanistan were using Bitcoin after Afghanistan was cut off from the global financial system after the United States pulled out. And now we had a very interesting story drop over the weekend, and perhaps it was late last week, where Lebanese people find themselves in dire straits. Their fiat currencies have collapsed, and people are looking for alternatives. But before I play that video, I also combined this video. I made a montage with this reporter called Joy-Ann Reid. She's very famous. She's very predominant in the United States. And she, again, we are apolitical on Simply Bitcoin. We don't take political sides. We stand for freedom. We stand for personal sovereignty, right? We stand for people taking personal responsibility, but we don't side with any particular political party. That being said, we also had Joy-Ann Reid basically getting mad at Republicans because Republicans were somehow teaching people about the concept of inflation. And I think that's so evil. Right? It's like, no, you peasant, you're not allowed to know what inflation is. Now, the reason I combined that with the Mackenzie Sigalos clip is because there's a starking difference. It's like, look, if the inflation rate is 8%, okay, fine. You can get by with people not knowing about inflation. But if you're in Lebanon and your inflation rate is 95%, if you are not aware about what inflation is and how you could protect yourself from inflation, you will not be able to put food on the table. So it's a stark contrast. And again, I thought these reporters, their job was to report what is going on. I thought that's their whole purpose. And now them saying, people shouldn't know about it. That doesn't sound like they're reporting. That sounds like they're statist propaganda. That's what it sounds like to me. It doesn't sound like they're journalists, right? Journalists are supposed to tell you, like, look, here's the inflation rate. This is how much your savings, your money, this is how much your salary is going down compared to last year. But no, she's taking a political angle, getting upset at the opposing political party because they're pointing out the obvious. And again, both political parties in the United States are guilty of this because they both do the same thing when they're in power. They print more money, right? Anyways, I'm going to shut up now. Let's check out the clip. Let's do it.
Decades of war and bad spending decisions by the government, Lebanon's economy is in ruin. I'm speaking to people who have had their life savings wiped out. There are fuel shortages and power cuts, a local currency that's lost 95% of its value, and crucially, money trapped in the bank. People are literally robbing banks at gunpoint to demand access to their own cash. And because of this, a sort of shadow crypto economy has emerged. So we're talking about Locals mining for Bitcoin, Dogecoin, and Litecoin to earn money because they can't find work. Others are getting paid in Bitcoin by finding freelance gigs on Reddit.
The people I ever hear use the word inflation are journalists and economists, right? So that is not part of the normal lexicon of the way people talk. So it's interesting that Republicans are doing something they don't normally do, right? Which is not use the common tongue, right? Not use just common English to sort of do on their campaigns like they're doing with crime. But what they've done is they've taught people the word inflation, right? Yeah. Most people who would have never used that word ever in their lives are using it now because they've been taught it, including on TV, including in newspapers. They've been taught this word, and they sort of wrap this word around whatever it is that they really want to vote, the reasons they really want to.
Well, I'm pretty confident the people of Lebanon know exactly what inflation is. That's evil. It's diabolical. It's just caring about, it's taking a hyper political stance and extreme political partisanship. And I think it's absolutely disgusting. It's like, yes, people should be aware, even, the average Joe should be aware what inflation is, especially if the inflation rate is 10%. In fact, the inflation rate affects the average Joe. It affects the lower and middle classes more because they don't have the means to save in assets. Therefore, their wealth does not benefit from asset inflation. It's only the wealthy that could protect themselves because they do have the means to invest, right? So absolutely disgusting wording from her, man. That I saw that and I was disgusted. You're a peasant. You don't deserve to know about inflation. In fact, you're too dumb to understand what inflation means, man. How dare you? They teach you what inflation means, and then compare that the strike contrast with Lebanon, right? It's like in people in Lebanon, man. Now they don't have an alternative. Now it's not about, who do we get in power? Now it's about how do we put food on the table? And of course, like always, Bitcoin is the only thing that's coming through. I know they mentioned shitcoins, but guys, like we've mentioned many times, shitcoins provide a false sense of financial sovereignty. You're dependent on a group of developers. You're dependent on a centralized entity, right? We believe as Bitcoiners, it's rules without rulers. Don't depend on anyone. Trust, minimize your money. And I think the world would be a much better place if enough people did just that. Anyways, Opti, what are your thoughts? And then we'll move on to Christian.
Well, that Joanne clip is absolute insanity. Me and Nico, when we saw this clip, we were completely appalled. I believe that this was the case, that they were taking this hyper political view, that they were literally saying to your face, you are too dumb to understand what inflation was, and you shouldn't understand what inflation was, is because we know fundamentally the problem. They do not want the average person to know that fiat currencies are robbing them. They do not want the average person to know that the government's creation of money is the cause of inflation so that they can continue to print money. And this is just next level gaslighting. It's absolutely insane that this is where the legacy media has taken the narrative. Legacy media gets paid to lie. You can't convince me otherwise. They're bought and sold to push the party line, to push the quote unquote elites status quo.
To use Nayib Bukele's own words, the elite's Kool-Aid, man. The elite's Kool-Aid.
Insanity. And we know this game, but apparently if they're still doing this type of messaging, then there has to be people out there that still don't know that the jig is up. Like, Lebanon loves Bitcoin because they know what it means to hold bad money, and it's further testament to the idea of third world countries will adopt Bitcoin faster than Western first world countries, because Westerners have that financial privilege, and they don't understand how this game is actually played out. Inflation is robbing you guys point blank, and we are being forced to use the money that robs us.
Amen to that. Christian, you want to hit it, bro? What are your thoughts?
First thought is I have no idea how your political system works there. Republicans, Democrats. I just know
it's all the
yeah,
same
exactly.
thing.
That's my point. It's like I don't want to know. I don't want to know because hey, they would be arguing about something else if they didn't have this topic or it doesn't matter. The sad thing is, as you said, inflation is robbing the average Joe. Like it's not robbing the rich. It's how it is. The sad thing a little bit is that because of the crazy inflation going on right now, more and more people understand it. So on one hand, it's terrible because our money is getting decimated, but on the other hand, really more and more people start to understand it. I see it here. As I said, I'm in developed country in Prague, sitting in the middle of European Union. We're living well off here, but we're hitting 80-90% inflation, and the discussions in the just past 6 months I had about inflation with absolute average Joe is like, it does put smile on my face, but it's like a bittersweet, because everybody's getting fucked, and you told them like years in a row about Bitcoin, and they just after it's almost already late, they're just coming into it. So on one hand, it super sucks, but on the other, it will produce way more Bitcoiners that we could have imagined. Kind of, it's like it's the biggest marketing strategy for the best money ever invented. So it's bittersweet. It's a bittersweet moment, and Lebanese people, I cannot imagine. Like we are hitting 19 here, and it's getting bad. Like we had protests on the main square in the city center of Prague, like twice, with, I don't know, 100,000 people, and we're just 19 in developed countries. So I cannot imagine what's like 100% or 200% inflation. That's crazy. But I think we're just starting. We're like, where are we heading? It's not going to be better, and it doesn't matter if you're in a developed country, as I said, here in Europe, or somewhere in the middle of Africa, or other developing countries. It's just protect yourself, like opt out. And now is the time to listen to your friends, those crazy friends that were telling you about Bitcoin for years and years. Because just look at your savings account. Doesn't matter if you have 10% inflation as in the US, or 19 in the middle of European Union. It's just, tell me why you believe it's going to get better, because whatever politician you like, he's probably lying also. So just don't trust anybody. That's the point of Bitcoin. Opt out. Don't trust.
100%. I agree with you. I think you hit the nail on the head, right? It's going to keep happening. And you buried the lead there a little bit, right? What you said, it's like, look, we've been telling people about Bitcoin for so long, and it's what we've always said, guys. If you live in a country that has financial privilege, where your currency isn't stealing from you enough for you to realize, most people see Bitcoin as a speculative asset. Most people see Bitcoin as a discomfort. It's only until the reality hits you and your government rug pulls you because they print too much money to fund themselves that you wake up to the reality, hey, maybe a non-government money that has rules without rulers, peer-to-peer, censorship resistant, maybe that's a good alternative. And I think that's exactly what you're seeing in Lebanon today. And we're gonna dig a little bit deeper into it. Let's get to the news. Let's do it.
The Daily News.
Brought to you by BitBox 2 Bitcoin Only Edition, a hardware wallet by Shift Crypto. Crypto like cryptography. It's secure, it's open source, and it's so easy your mom can set it up. Self-custody is the revolution, and the BitBox makes it simple. Do not leave your Bitcoin on an exchange. Order a BitBox today.
All right, everybody. So check this out. Amazing article, and it really explains what the situation on the ground is over there. Shout out to the author, Mackenzie Sigalos. Name of the article for our audio listeners: in bankrupt Lebanon, locals mine Bitcoin and buy groceries with Tether as $1 is now worth 15 cents. Talk about absolutely wrecked. Anyways, she brings up the example of a very specific individual, but I think it does a really great job at explaining what the situation on the ground is. So anyways, she starts the article with, when Giorgio Abu Gabriel first heard about Bitcoin in 2016, it sounded like a scam. But by 2019, as Lebanon plunged into a financial crisis following decades of expensive wars and bad spend decisions, a decentralized and borderless digital currency operating outside the reach of bankers and politicians sounded a lot like salvation. In the spring of 2020, Gabriel said the banks were closed and locals were barred from withdrawing money from their accounts. That's right, guys. If you're not holding your own money, if you're not holding your own private keys, it ain't your money. When you have to ask somebody else for permission to use your money, it ain't your money. And unfortunately, the people of Lebanon are learning this lesson, that For decades, this lesson has been learned over and over again. The United States, it happened in the 1930s, the bank runs. Same thing. Don't trust someone else holding your future. Don't trust someone else holding your wealth. Specifically, if you live in a in a developing country, man. This is very scary, but it's history repeating itself. Now we have a good alternative, a good solution, right? Gold is too heavy. Gold is hard to transport, especially if you have a good amount, if you have a big amount, right? Now you can memorize and store millions, billions, if not trillions of dollars in your mind by memorizing a 12-word seed phrase. Even though we don't recommend that, put it in steel, write down that seed phrase. But if you're in a pickle, you could still do it. Anyways, receiving cash via international wire transfer wasn't a great option either, since these services would take US dollars from the sender and give Lebanese pounds to the recipient at a much lower rate than market value, according to the 27-year-old. That's right. If your family members wanted to send you dollars from overseas to try to help you, the receiving bank would steal the dollars and they would hand you a shitcoin. The dollar is a shitcoin, but it's less of a shitcoin than the Lebanese fiat currency. What solution do you have to that? It's all based on coercion. It's all based on theft. The entire system. You save, steal from you. People try to send you a better alternative, they steal from you. Ridiculous. I would lose around half of the value, explained Gabriel, of the experience. That's why I was looking at Bitcoin. It was a good way to get money from abroad. Gabriel discovered a subreddit dedicated to connecting freelancers with employers willing to pay in Bitcoin. Today, half of Gabriel's income is from freelance work, 90% of which is paid in Bitcoin. The other half comes from a US denominated salary paid by his new architecture firm. Beyond being a convenient way to earn a living, Bitcoin has also become his bank. When I get paid for my architecture job, I withdraw all my money, continued Gabriel. He then uses that cash to buy small amounts of Bitcoin every Saturday. The rest he keeps as spending money for daily needs and home renovations. Gabriel isn't alone in seeking alternative ways to earn, save, and spend money in a country whose banking system is fundamentally broken after decades of mismanagement. The local currency has lost more than 95% of its value since August 2019. The minimum wage has effectively plummeted from $450 to $17 a month. Pensions are virtually less. Lebanon's triple-digit inflation rate is expected to be second only to Sudan this year, and bank account balances are just numbers on paper. Not everyone believes that banks are bankrupt, but the reality is that they are. The situation hasn't really changed since 2019. Banks limited withdrawals and deposits became IOUs. You could have taken out your money with a 15% haircut, then 35%. Today, we're at 85%, continued Hindi, who was born and raised in Lebanon before leaving at age 19. Still, people look at their bank statements and believe that they're going to be made whole at some point. It's so sad. Losing nearly all their savings and pensions. Gabriel's parents, both of whom are career government employees, are holding out hope that the existing financial system will right-size at some point. In the meantime, Gabriel's covering the difference. CNBC spoke with multiple locals, many of whom consider cryptocurrencies as a lifeline for survival. Some are mining for digital tokens as their sole source of income will hunt for a job. Others arrange clandestine meetings via Telegram to swap the stablecoin Tether for US dollars in order to buy groceries. Although the form that crypto adoption takes varies depending upon the person and the circumstances, nearly all these locals craved a connection to money that actually makes sense. Very powerful line there. Quote, Bitcoin has really given us hope, Gabriel said. He doesn't say shitcoins, by the way. He says Bitcoin specifically. I was born in my village. I've lived here my whole life, and Bitcoin has helped me stay here. Again, very, very, very powerful wording. And now I wanted to cover this. First of all, this is tragic. This is a very tragic circumstance. Now, the elites, though, right? And Nayib Bukele referenced these elites, right? Whether this is the United Nations, the IMF, the World Bank. Their solution is more central bank digital currencies. Here's the infamous United Nations reports. It says specifically, United Nations spells out actions to curb cryptocurrencies in developing countries. Some of their solutions is to regulate it, to tax it, to make it hard to take self-custody of it. And their final solution is we must push central bank digital currencies. The problem is that central bank digital, the problem for them, not for us, the problem with central bank digital currencies is that they will never be able to match Bitcoin's incentives. What are those? Governments will always want to be able to do two things, and they can't stop themselves from doing two things. In fact, it came out, Bitcoin Magazine tweet earlier today, that the European central bank digital currency is going to have capital controls. They're only going to allow you to spend a certain amount. Governments were always going to want to censor, and they're always going to want to debase. And because they're always going to want to do those two things to protect themselves, to benefit themselves, Bitcoin's incentives will always win. Censorship resistant, cap supply, period, full stop. Governments can't have it. And at the end of the day, to use Nayib Bukele's own words, that's why they're petrified of what's going on in El Salvador. That's why they're petrified that Central African Republic made Bitcoin legal tender, and many other countries will follow because of Bitcoin's incentives. And here is the case of Nigeria. And we actually covered Nigeria on an episode last week, right? The name of the Bloomberg title that I think is very fitting, it says, "Skeptical Nigerians aren't sold on Africa's first digital currency." I love, you guys notice that wording? The first digital currency wasn't Bitcoin. The first digital currency was the central bank digital currency. It ain't a digital currency if it's not a central bank digital currency. But here's the problem. A Nigerian central bank digital currency ain't gonna fix that 20% Nigerian naira inflation, is it? You know what is going to fix that inflation rate? Bitcoin. And that's why in the Future of Money report released by the White House, that's why in all these reports, that's why the World Economic Forum, that's why the United Nations report, they always say we have to innovate the payment systems. We have to push forward the payment systems. We have to improve the digital payments. But they never mention, because if they mention this, it's the tell, it's the giveaway, it's the final nail in the coffin. They never mention as to why people are seeking alternatives. And the reason why people are seeking alternatives in Lebanon is another example of that, is because people are sick and tired of being stolen from via currency debasement. And there's nothing they have to fix that. Because if they fix that, they could not pay for their own bureaucracies, their own survival. This is what the revolution is all about. It's about taking back your power back. It's about saying no to theft. It's about saying enough is enough. I'm tired of being stolen from, and there's nothing you could do about it. Go pound sand. And over a long period of time, that's going to force them to change behaviors. Sovereign Individual really cover the book. Sovereign Individual really gets into the details of that, or his theory of the case. Anyways, Christian, what are your thoughts on this? You were talking about the situation in Prague. You were talking about that 20% inflation rate. Dude, it looks like history is repeating itself just in another country, but it's the same thing, man. It's this fiat money, this fiat currency, this government money that's stealing from everybody. The politicians and the bankers are working together to protect themselves. The bank says, no, we can't give you access to that money. Oh, you could send us money in US dollars. We'll take the US dollars. We'll give you a shit coin in return. This is disgusting. This is tragic, man. What are your thoughts?
Just by the way, in Czech Republic, so in this land or in this city in the past 100 years, we had like 4 different government currencies, right? 3 or 4. So like it is very difficult to live just one generation to be old grandpa and have good one money. So it's changing a lot, even in developed countries in the middle of Europe. By the way, about the Lebanon story, I didn't know we were going to cover it, but we just tweeted about it just today. And our take on it was home miners will inherit the earth. It's super cool to see. People think, or it's very often that we say as Bitcoiners, Bitcoin will save the world, it will fix it. But we say in the future, it's like we use future tense, but it's not the case. It's already doing it. You see the title in the Lebanese story was people are mining at home. I know it's not thousands or 80% of people escaping the inflation, but the fact that some smart people already know about that solution and use it to protect themselves, and then tell their friends, that's super cool. And it's the same story. So we have a guy working in our team. He's from Venezuela, and he was literally 3-4 years ago. He was mining just to survive, to have food to eat, literally. So it said mining Bitcoin saved his life, and it's just repeating itself, the story across the globe. My point is, just saying hi to Artemis. Bitcoin is already helping. It is already fixing the world, and I'm super happy. Super sad about Lebanese people. Like, well, what can I say? We don't have 22 as you mentioned, but we have 18%, 19%. It already sucks. People are angry. Unemployment rate might rise. We have people protesting, and it's just 20, right? Just, of course, just with air quotes. So I'm super sad about those people, but we have like the pill that takes you out of the matrix. That's the point. Like, now we have the technology. Money is just technology, and Bitcoin is just better money, better technology. So now it's super cool that we have it. So all the props to, and sending all my positive vibes to the Bitcoiners in Lebanon, because now it's their time to hustle as much and orange pill as many of their friends as possible, because now they need it more than ever. So just fingers crossed for them.
100%. And like there's something that you said that resonated with the part of the article. And the part of the article that I'm referencing is, it says, quote, although the form that crypto adoption takes varies depending upon the person, the circumstances, nearly all of these locals craved a connection to money that actually makes sense, right? And this is where Bitcoin being better money, right? And then fiat currencies exposing themselves for what they are, Ponzi's, right? This is where Bitcoin really shines. And we had a very interesting comment that I actually wanted to read about the West. It says here we go. The comment is by Global Nonsense. It says, slow adoption for Western countries will level the playing field for the developing countries. Poetic justice. And I think that's absolutely true. Anyways, Opti, what are your thoughts on all this, man?
Well, first and foremost, shouts out to Gabriel for stacking sats to escape Lebanon's inflation. It's beautiful to see. And also, we connect that with that clip by Joanne, what's her last name, Reed, saying, the average person doesn't know what inflation is. And it's so wrong that it's ridiculous, because you can't hide the sticker shock, as Nico's taught me a long time ago. People inherently know what it means to feel and go through inflation. And the gaslighting of that clip, it hits harder when you see this news segment. But at the time, self-custody is the revolution. If you put your money in a bank, it's not your money anymore. I know you guys saw on Twitter the people from Lebanon literally robbing their banks to get their money back. Like, this is the end game of fiat money. This is why we go so hard to tell you guys to eliminate the middlemen, become your own bank. Again, spread that Bitcoin signal so people know the right tools. Self-custody is the revolution. Use Bitcoin wallets like Cold Card, Moon Wallet, Sparrow Wallet, Bitcoin Core, Breeze, Pine, Phoenix, Zeus. If you're more, I know there's a lot of other good wallets out there, but use Node to verify your own transaction. Do not get ourselves back into this situation again. Eliminate the banks by becoming your own bank, guys. Like that quote about banks being bankrupt, NBC article, like so much sauce in there. And it's not Lebanon's bank. Like, all banks are bankrupt at this point. You guys are the collateral, but you can't stop the Bitcoin revolution is going worldwide. The signal can't be stopped. Bitcoin is a revolution, the individual. And we keep referencing the UN article, and every time Nico brings it up, I can't forget that at the very top it says prosperity for all. Bitcoin is the real prosperity for all. We are bringing a money that is attached to reality, because everything has been just completely destroyed from reality. There is no connection to reality, and Bitcoin brings back that natural law so that we can actually build on something with foundation. And this is what the Bitcoin revolution is all about. Like, these are absolutely insane. And the gaslight by the corporate media is absolutely disgusting. These people, I want to say they're naive, but it becomes clear and clear that they are just malicious. But hey, I'll take off my tinfoil hat. And it just shouts out to Gabriel and shouts out to the people in Lebanon that are escaping inflation and are able to save for their future by either coin mining or just stacking sats. Like, this is what it's all about, guys.
And like it just reminds me of Nayib Bukele's article, stop drinking the elite's Kool-Aid. And, one of the lines, that he said at the end, right. It's an incredible article. I really recommend it. We've gone over it many times and we've referenced it on this show. They say they used to own everything, and in a way they still do: the media, the banks, the NGOs, the international organizations, and almost all the governments and corporations in the world. And with that, of course, they also own the armies, the loans, the money supply, the credit ratings, narrative, the propaganda, the factories, the food supply. They control international trade and international law, but their most powerful weapon is the control of truth. And they're willing to fight, lie, smear, destroy, censor, confiscate, print, and do whatever it takes to maintain and increase their control over the truth and everything and everyone. And that's why this article by the United Nations titled, United Nations spells out actions to curb cryptocurrencies in developing countries is so disgusting. They don't have an answer to inflation, because the answer and solution to inflation would take power away from them. So does the United Nations really want prosperity for all? No. Prosperity for all as long as we are in control, as long as we're in the driver's seat. And that's the beautiful thing about Bitcoin, is that it exposes people's incentives. And if you're a tyrant, that is very bad. You want to know why Christine Lagarde and all the central bankers hate it so much? Because it just puts up a mirror and it exposes them for what they are. Frauds. Opti calls them parasites. I call them monetary demons, but that's really what they are. Anyways, Nope No Day says, if you're going to hide your dead body, bury it in a dead fiat. If you're going to hide your dead fiat, bury it in the debasement. That is freaking hilarious. Oh man. Thanks for that comment. Anyways, guys, let's talk about brains. Let's find out more about it. Let's check out the culture. Let's do this.
The Daily Culture.
Brought to you by SwanBitcoin.com. Swan is the best way to build your Bitcoin stack with automated Bitcoin savings plans and instant purchases, serving clients of any size from $10 to $10 million. We love Swan because they incentivize self-custody and dollar cost averaging. What are you waiting for? Visit SwanBitcoin.com today. All right, guys, I want to give a shout out to Pacific Bitcoin. It's going to be the largest Bitcoin conference on the West Coast. It's coming up in 2 days, 20 hours and 5 minutes. Pacific Bitcoin. It's a 2-day experience leading the way to a bright orange future. Speaker list includes Michael Saylor, Lynn Alden, Corey Clipston, Jeff Booth, Dylan LeClaire, Robert Breedlove, Pierre Richard, Mark Moss, Nico, and Opti are going to be doing a live Simply Bitcoin show from the Pacific Bitcoin Swan Dome. You could take advantage of the promo code all caps simply to get a major discount to your Pacific Bitcoin tickets. Anyways, Opti, take it away, bro. It's all you.
Let's go, guys. So, Christian, of course, there's new people out here that show up every single day. So let's just start from the basics. What is Brains and what is your company about?
Last note, Pacific Bitcoin is absolutely great event. We really wanted to be there. Unfortunately, we have Bitmain is putting up a last minute event in Cancun, Mexico, and exactly in those dates. So unfortunately, we'll not see you there. But it was on our list for a long time to go to Pacific Bitcoin when they announced it. So enjoy, guys. Enjoy. It's gonna be a great event. But if you're a miner, see you in Cancun, Mexico, tomorrow and in 2 days. Brains is a Bitcoin miner software company currently, I would say. So anything to do, so only Bitcoin mining and only software currently. And it's not, we're mostly famous for the firmware, which is just, by the way, a fancy word to say operating system for the ASICs, like for the mining machines, right? But it's an operating system, same as your phone has Android or your laptop has a Mac OS or Windows or Linux. We do the same for the ASIC miners, because we figured out hey, the Chinese stock thing is not that good, so let's do it better and let's fix it. But also, our oldest product would be Brainspool, which is formerly known as Slashpool. So it's the oldest mining pool since 2010. We renamed for several. Maybe I'm stuck somehow. I don't know how. Sorry. Is everything working, guys?
You're good.
Yeah,
You're good.
everything's working great.
It's lagging. Anyway, yeah. So we had more and more products coming out. So we just wanted to unify the branding. So we have Brainspool, formerly known as Slashpool. Then on the other hand, on the other end of the spectrum, we have the operating system that's running the ASICs, and then we try to put as many useful apps in the middle. So think about things like Farm Proxy, which is just a fancy name for a app that unifies the a hash rate of like a large farm and then sends it to the pool in a smarter way, and then you can do like a farm management on top of it, etc. So basically, we try to put as much of the mining software stack on top of each other and just create value among those different products, because you would be surprised, but we're super early in the industry. People still think like, oh my God, Bitcoin is for $20,000. It's more than 10 years old, etc. It's like it's too late. It's already done. It's the end of the innovation or the of Bitcoin. But in the mining industry, it's super clear that we're so early in the game. It's like a super wild west. It's no standardization, so many rooms for optimizations and for new products. It's quite unbelievable, but we're a little bit slower industry, or not slower, I would say. The thing is that it's challenging, to survive the bear markets, and then even surviving the bull markets. It's like so many new machines, so many new demands, so many new requests. So it's tough. So I maybe got sidetracked. What's
No,
Brains is
man,
asking
you-
Kaboom
you-
Brax. You should know. You're just trying me, Kaboom.
Yeah, shout out Tucson. So going back to that, right? Because a lot of people don't understand, right? So let's say you buy an Ant miner. I don't know if they still call it that, or you buy a Wets miner, right? And it comes. There you go.
The stealth edition. It doesn't look. It's not matte black in general. Yeah.
Very nice, very nice. Okay, so you buy a Bitcoin miner, and it comes, and you install it, right? And it comes with a factory firmware, right? It comes with the firmware that's already pre-installed in the machine, right? So why are people going to go out of their way to install something like the Brains firmware? What benefit? Sure. How does it benefit them? I had this theory, because I started mining 2016. I had this theory, and right when you plug in an ASIC, right, for the first 30 seconds, that thing spins up, and it's going to the factory pool, right? And I was like, how much free Bitcoin is Bitmain
that was
getting?
a huge topic. That was crazy. No, but now imagine a lot like retail miners or people just starting, they would have no idea. It takes them quite some time to figure it out. So, but whatever you do, you just plug it in, and then it starts mining to their own Bitmain pool with a Bitmain ASICs. We're wondering like how much money they made on that, and it's so immoral. I would say it's so bad on so many levels, and it's just that's the simplest thing about what they did wrong in the past. Like think about things like ASIC boost. That it was literally, so it's a feature in the firmware itself, which basically simplified lets you mine 13% more efficiently, which is a lot of money. 13% is double-digit percentage of more profitability, and Bitmain was literally explicitly saying it's not possible to run this feature because of the architecture limitations, hardware architecture limitations, and they're explicitly saying that. So what we did, we're saying, hey, let us code a better firmware. We just don't believe this this nonsense. So we're digging in, and in order to code our firmware, we had to reverse engineer a lot of their things, which is basically just playing around, hacking it, seeing how it works. And we actually proven, we basically found the feature in their firmware, and we announced it like on the blog post, proving that the machines are physically capable of running the feature called ASIC Boost, and it's just a matter of firmware enabling. So it's like you need to code it. You just need a feature to check on the box, enable ASIC Boost. The next day, Bitmain releases update for all the end miners globally. So that makes me question, like, are they really that dumb that, they saw a blog post from Brains and they thought, we really didn't know producing these machines past the six years and having like global $billion company. Let us, by the way, code it in 2 minutes so that we can push it in the firmware updates to everybody around the world. Bull fucking shit. The theory, of course, I don't have proof. It's just a theory. But that it was during the wars with Bitcoin Cash, etc. So think about all the incentives what could have been playing there, like hey, buy my machines, mine on my pool before Bitcoin Cash fork, and I'll give you this cool feature, which is, by the way, super secret, nobody knows about it, and you'll mine 13% more efficiently. We have no way to prove it, but just putting those small dots, it's such a small probability that it would be other story that so I don't want to continue that, and
No,
other things,
man.
that there was the back door they could plug, like
Yes.
turn off your machines remotely, which of course they called like security management feature something, and we suggest, whatever you do, we don't do business like that. We say, hey, not your firmware, not your miner, you have to be fully in control. And nothing like, there's a secret management feature, some guy in China designing on a red button, it shouldn't be that way. So we said, hey, let's fix it.
It was absolutely crazy, especially in the early days before you guys existed. It was so nuts. It's like we didn't have, like, you knew they were doing this stuff. Also stealing some of your hash rate as well, right? There was no way to know, but everyone had suspicions, but you couldn't confirm it. And then, it was really when you updated, you changed the firmware, you start to see, holy crap, where was this hash rate going? Yeah. Like, my machine was capable of doing this in the first place. Yeah. What the hell is going on? So for anyone who's getting into mining, I know we have a lot of people that, are new into Bitcoin watching this show. If you buy, What's Miner, an Ant Miner, I don't know if they still call it the Bitmain miners, don't keep the factory software. It cannot be trusted. I'm not just saying that lightly, based on their previous actions, right? And what is Bitcoin? It's like, don't trust, verify, trust, minimize. And I think that's where Brains comes in, man. I think that's what you guys are great at. So what other things do you guys do at your company? Because you guys aren't just, a firmware, a software, a miner operating system company. I also know that you guys released and I was shown this at the mining conference. Shout out Scott and Brad. You guys came out with a manual, and you had some memes at the end.
Oh yeah. Wait. So Bitcoin mining handbook. It's gonna be this month for free to download on our website. We're gonna be selling those too, but soon, it's tough. But yeah, of course, we're like, we have to have a mining memes section. So the last part of the book is actually mining meme, exactly what it says on the tin, right? So it's a section, the last chapter in the book, about mining memes. We think it's a very important part of our community, and I'm a marketing guy, so I run marketing at Brains. But I think it's genius because it's like you have the word for it, no, the edutainment or something like that. You get super, it cracks you up, but you actually learn something. So we have literally just read it. I think you have to laugh, and in order to laugh from the meme, you have to understand some simple truth behind the meme. So I think it's a big part, and it's one of the greatest tools for Bitcoin marketing department in general, I would say. So we had to have a section on Bitcoin mining.
100%. 100%.
Other things we do is the mining pool, the oldest mining pool. We mined over 1.3 million bitcoins on it, so we'll be always first on that, I guess. The only possibility of somebody taking over us is like we would have to unify all the hash rate currently that is, and then mine for the next 100 years in order to overtake Brain's pool and that. So that's pretty cool. It's just cool. I mean, it's
So
it is pretty cool.
So let's talk about and this is a concern, and specifically in the United States, right? You have the U.S. Treasury being extremely hostile towards Bitcoin. This is Cynthia Lummis's words, not mine. You also have an increase in mining centralization in the United States, right? So, where I believe this is going, right, and just kind of connect the dots, everybody, use some common sense, right? U.S. Treasury sanctioned open source software for the first time, and that sanctioning led to Ethereum. Now, the majority of Ethereum validators are actively censoring for the Office of Foreign Asset Control, right? So the majority of Ethereum is actively censoring for the U.S. government. If we do want to separate money from state, obviously that can't happen. What I believe is the next step for the Treasury is to knock on the door of the large industrial miners, the Foundry USA, right? Huge portion of the hash rate, and say, hey, you can only add, whitelisted transactions into the blockchain. Of course, that's not going to censor Bitcoin. The worst thing that could happen is they could delay certain transactions, but it's not really full-time censorship. But still, do we really want to allow it to get to that point? And it's something that we've been saying for a long time on this show. We must innovate faster than they can regulate, right? And this is where Stratum V2 comes in. From my understanding, the way that it's worked for a long time, Christian, is that it's the mining pool that gets to pick and choose, the mining pool that finds the block that gets to pick and choose what Bitcoin transactions are included in that block. What Stratum V2 is going to do is it's going to give the capacity, the ability for the individual miner that found the block, the ability to pick and choose what transactions he wants to include in the block and what transactions he doesn't want to include in the block. And that further decentralizes the Bitcoin network, making it even harder for governments to co-opt and to try to control and to try to make like an extension of the existing censorship system that we have today. So I don't know if that was a good explanation, Christian, but from your perspective, what is Stratum V2? Why is it such a big deal? And I know that Brains has been one of the biggest proponents pushing that forward.
So many times when mining is difficult in general. Like a lot of Bitcoiners, they just say, hey, the incentives are set correctly. Let me not worry about mining. It's really a lot of the cases, and you see it on the Bitcoin conferences, like mining doesn't get the spotlight, which is bad, I say. So just to explain to people, when we say mining protocol, like Stratum or Stratum, the new proposed Stratum V2, it's just a fancy word to say how the ASIC machine, like the mining hardware, communicates with the pool. So it's literally just a set of rules where we define. Imagine I'm the ASIC machine, right? And I say, hey, pool, nice to meet you. I'm ASIC XY under the account XYZ. Here's my work. Please accept it and give me my Bitcoin. And the pool says, oh, okay. Hey, I know you. You're mining on our pool. I know your account. I can verify you're doing the work. Here's the stats. So it's just a fancy word to say how mining machine communicates with the pool. That's the pooled mining protocol. And it's very simple because the first Stratum, it was written in like 2012. It's like such an old, and by the way, even the shitcoins running proof of work. They everything runs on the previous Stratum standard, but it's super old. It's like it's literally just one machine mining today is like has higher hash rate power than the whole network in 2012. So it's like we've grown exponentially. It's crazy. It's crazy big industry currently, and like millions of machines running now. So you need just a better standard, like just more efficient set of rules how those two parties communicate. So the just in summary. And by the way, yeah, Brains. So Brains is we are the authors of the new proposed Stratum v2, and we collaborated also with Matt Corello. So we made the new standard 2 years ago. And by the way, it's not a vaporware. It's like nothing. It's not something that we'll just talking about something that will work in 10 years. Already, so in our firmware, it's implemented for the past 2 years, and it's already running on our Brains pool for the past 2 years. So thousands of miners already use Stratum v2. But the important thing to say is it's a large standard. Like there's a lot of things what it can do, because we're thinking like, hey, let's build a new standard for the next 20 years, right? So one of those things, for example, is the work selection, as you said. So giving enabling the feature that we can give the miners the right to create the blocks and then send them to the pools, and so moving that power away from the pool but to the miners. But it's additional feature. So here I want to say decentralization is not binary concept. It's decentralized or it's not. It's a large scale and multi-dimensional scale. So when we talk about decentralization, don't think about Stratum v2 as a silver bullet. It's just another way how to make everything a little bit better. But it's not like, oh, we'll adopt Stratum v2 and bang, we have like a Bitcoin 3.0. It's that would be shady marketing, and just Ethereum does that. We don't do that here at Brains or in Bitcoin. So it is thing that will definitely help in a lot of these cases, and it's by the way fixing a lot of other issues like. It's not just about the decentralization, it's security. Like it is so easy, like extremely easy to steal a hash rate in Stratum v1. It's as simple, and you don't know who's doing it because it can be your router, it can be your ISP provider. You'll be surprised, but when we announced the Stratum v2 protocol in Kazakhstan on a mining conference, there was immediately a large miner from Ukraine, I think, coming to us and like, oh my god, I need this yesterday because Stratum v2 is encrypted, end-to-end encrypted. So there can be nobody in the middle just stealing your hash rate randomly, which is, by the way, the case now with Stratum v1. So it's a global standard that we can be stealing, and you would have no idea if your ISP is still 0.01% of your hash rate. There's just no way to know. And it gets solved by Stratum v2. So there are a lot of things like this that it fixes. Basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah, sorry.
Guys, download, you use the Brains firmware. Make sure that either the mining manufacturer, your ISP, isn't stealing your hash. Download Brains. Anyways, awesome, Christian. Really appreciated that. Guys, let's get to the meme review. Let's do it.
Last note. Brains
go ahead.
It's not like a Brains power play. I mean, we're because we know that Stratum v2 is like something that we'll need in like 10 years. For example, it fixes the empty blocks. So we knew we'll need it, as the whole industry will need it in like 3 halvings down the line, right? So we're just developing it for the future, but we didn't expect this huge support so early. So it's not going to be just Brains. There are already company joining the initiative. So it is open standard, and we're just the guys that wrote and thought about it and implemented first. But the point is, it's open standard, and we should agree as the whole industry that we want to take it as a new standard and move forward. So I'm inviting all the industry players to join, and let's talk about it. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Very, very bullish, and I love what you guys do. Definitely check it out, guys. Don't trust that factory firmware on that miner that you just bought. Anyways, let's check out the meme review. Let's do it.
The Daily Meme Review.
Brought to you by Kaboom Racks. I get this question all the time. Nico, where should I buy Bitcoin miners? The answer is Kaboom Racks. It's the best place to buy Bitcoin miners. That's where you're going to find the best deals and the best prices. Start your mining utopia today. To check out their racks, you got to go to t.me/Kaboom Racks. Join their Telegram group and start your mining journey today. Kaboom Racks. Racks. Anyways, I want to give a shout out to Narwhal Tacos. Check this out. FYI, Kaboom Racks will pre-install Brains OS for you before they ship. Ooh.
Kaboom Racks.
Kaboom Racks.
All right, guys, you already know this is the meme review. And as Nico patented, he didn't patent it, but as he created the meme, tweets are the bullets or the artillery in this information war, guys. You are the frontline soldiers. Make sure you continue to propagate the memes.
That's a copyright strike. I patented
Oh
it.
my God. Make sure you continue to get calls of actions out there. And of course, this is the meme review score. So once I get done with the memes, drop a meme review score in the chat and we will read some. This first one, I'm sure you guys saw this, but the EU dropped an addition or an asterisk to the infamous hosted wallets. Well, the EU, this is a meme of like the blonde lady yelling at the cat, and he goes, "You're not allowed to have a self-hosted address." And the cat goes, "Bacon, bacon, 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 bacon." Go down, and you can see, if you know, you know. It's a metal seed phrase on with bacon.
Bacon.
As your wallet. All right, next one, Nico. Next one, Nico.
Bacon. All
right, this one's close to my heart. Shouts out to Save Dynamos, and he just tweets, "Status logic. Humans are greedy and evil, therefore we can't let them make choices for themselves. We must let other greedy and evil humans make choices for themselves." And it's a meme of Ludwig von Mises, and he goes, "If one rejects laissez-faire on account of man's fallibility and moral weakness, one must, for the same reason, also reject every kind of government action." Sauce, complete sauce. This next one, shouts out to Maxi Club. I absolutely love what you do with these memes, bro. And he goes, 206, move to, and we got a couple, we got a pink little blob and a green little Pepe frog or whatever they are. He's eating a pizza and the wife goes, "Hey, he's probably thinking about other women." And then the Bitcoiner goes, "We should move to El Salvador so I can use the Lightning Network every day." Okay, this next one, guys, you might not think this is a meme, but let me break this down for you. So we have Jack and someone, I think it was like Narwhal or Darth Coin in the Simply Bitcoin Telegram group that told me about this, but he goes, "These tracking additions when sharing a tweet are a step backwards. Nothing needed after the question mark." And if you go to this next one, Nico, click on the photo, and to all you Bitcoiners, you can see that there's some sauce in there. He's got a tweet by Hal Finney, and if you click on what that tweet is, go to the next one, Nico, the next tab open. What is the tweet that he has in there? It is running Bitcoin, the legendary tweet by Hal Finn. Anyways, this next one, go to the next one, Nico. We got, this is 21 JCLP, and he goes, "There is no second of best." And we got this buff Chad Bitcoiner with laser eyes, and it goes, "Life advice from Sailor. 1, focus your energy, guard your time, train your mind, train your body, think for yourself, curate your environment, keep your promises, stay cheerful and constructive, upgrade the world, and buy Bitcoin." Pure signal for life advice, guys. And this last one, shouts out to Hodl Neversato. We got tagged on this one right before the show. And it's perfectly fitting for where we are right now in the market, guys. And he goes, "I'm a Bitcoin chart guy now. Like and subscribe." And you can see this, bent, swirled palm tree. And it goes 2020 at the beginning, 2021 as it goes through the roller coaster, 2022 is the bottom, 2023 it's going to go pumpity pump, and 2024 it goes absolutely nuclear as we go towards the moon. Anyways, guys, for my meme review score today, I got this very nice coffee cup that I got my 2 double espressos and my normal coffee this morning to get me jacked up for the show. Anyways, Nico, what's your meme review score?
I'm going to give it this Kaboom Racks bomb. Kaboom Racks. Kaboom Racks. Anyways, we got a question from Park. Park says, which mining pool should we be using? Christian, what mining pool should they be using?
How does Marty say it? Brains, right?
Brains.
By the way, it's the third name in a row. We used to be called Bitcoin.cz mining pool, then /pool, and now Brains pool. So it's the third name already. Well, think about the fourth one, of course.
All right, guys.
I'm the one to blame, by the way. Everybody was like, no, keep /pool. So yeah, DM me if you want to like divert your rage.
You're the one responsible for Brains pool. That's funny.
Yeah,
okay,
quite a lot.
so Christian, what score would you give those memes?
I was thinking hard what to pick. I prepared like a weird set of things here to prepare. So I'm going with this. So this is an actual not Game Boy. What was it? Now I don't remember. It's a Game Boy that actually mines Bitcoin. You just need external Raspberry Pi to have the. So, and I would like to shout out for the first meme with the cats. So if you can prove that you created that meme with the self-hosted wallet, I will send it to you and with a guide how to set it up. It actually runs Bitcoin, mines Bitcoin.
Oh man, that's right, guys. You see, if you created that meme with the cats, our friends over at Brains they just offered
a self-hosted wallet.
It says Octopus Olaf. So if you are listening and you are the creator,
original creator,
DM Christian
Brains.
Yeah.
And they will send you a mining Game Boy.
Amazing.
Oh man, look at that
sauce.
All right, guys, this is Bitcoin Live. Drop your scores in the live chat.
We got some.
And we will read them. Yeah, but I'm letting everybody else know.
They know I said it.
Okay. You did? Okay.
I said it today.
Global nonsense. You remembered. Oh, I'm so proud of Opti. Global nonsense. I give the memes a Cope 27 pen made with old McDonald's straw and plant-based ink. Next one by BTC Pins. I rate the memes Opti's throbbing Lagarde. If you guys don't know, Christine Lagarde is Opti's ex-girlfriend. Brandon, I give the memes some titanium plates. Igor says, I give the memes an ASIC-powered home and water heating system. HODLcoin says, I give the memes the IMF, Bank of International Settlements, and United Nations soiled underwear after hearing about lightning. Bitcoin for Canadians, I give the memes a high-powered protein shake with extra raw eggs. Frank says, I give the memes 1 bacon out of 24. Planet Earth says, I give the memes 2 bacon out of 24. And last score, hit the buzzer, Opti, red button. Last score by Kaboom Racks. I give the score my S19 running Brains and heating my house. Oof. And I know that's true. I could verify that. All right, guys, that was the meme review score. Check out Simply Bitcoin's Telegram group. It's awesome. That's where you can link us Bitcoin memes to review. It's absolutely free. And shout out Darthcoin because we're figuring out how to do a live Telegram show every week. Very, very looking forward to it. Exclusively on Telegram. Go to www.t.me/the Simply Bitcoin channel. Also check out the written version of this show. Shout out to our writers, Paul, Rustin, Zach, Weinekis. Check out www.simplybitcoin.news. It's also absolutely free. Anyways, Opti, we have a software release today. Let's check it out.
Bitcoin software release.
Brought to you by CypherSafe. Don't be that person that loses their Bitcoin seed due to fire damage, water damage, dog attacks. Back up your generational Bitcoin wealth on steel, and there's no better place to do it than the Cypher Grid by CypherSafe. And now check out their new Bitcoin art, the Bitcoin Rulux triangle, only on CypherSafe.io.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, guys. So today's software release is Synonyms BitKit, guys, your ultimate Bitcoin toolkit. And it offers a Bitcoin wallet that supports both on-chain and Lightning transactions. This application runs a non-routing Lightning node, and it automatically onboards Lightning users. There's a bunch of cool features for this, guys. If you are a developer, if you want to run your own /tag, shouts out to all the people at Synonyms that are definitely thinking in the future and trying to create some awesome new projects. So definitely go check this one out and let us know what you think about it.
Also, check out the audio version of this show, Opti.
Oh yeah. Guys, we are on Anchor, we are on Spotify, we are on Apple Podcasts, and I am pretty sure we are on every single podcasting app that you can find on the internet. But we are also on the Fountain Value for Value Economy. I tried to load up all the comments this morning, but my Fountain app was acting weird. So shouts out to you guys streaming us stats. Shouts out to the comments. I will get them back up as soon as possible, guys. We appreciate all the love, and we appreciate your time. We will see you on Thursday in Santa Monica.
Also, guys, check out representltd.com. They make stylish merch, comfy merch. It's stylish, it's comfy. Opti is wearing the orange pill, trust no one merch. I'm wearing the basic represent clean white hoodie. It's one of my favorite. You guys will see me sporting off. If you see me at the airport, I am wearing Represent LTD. Guys, take advantage of the promo code simply-bitcoin to get a big discount on representltd.com. Also, want to give a very special shout out to our awesome guest. He's from Brains. Thank you for joining us today, Christian. Really appreciate it. Where can people find out more about you, and where can people find out more about Brains?
Well, it's a pleasure, guys, really. Just go and find us on Twitter or Telegram, actually. Brains double I, so remember the double I's. And it's not just about product releases, right? We love Bitcoin mining. That's all we can talk about. So from mining memes to mining educational things, we do blog articles about how to, build a hot tub using ASICs heat, or going into really deep economics research about economics of intermittent energy sources mining, etc. So really, if you are interested in anything related to Bitcoin mining, definitely check out Brains on Telegram or Twitter, and remember the double I's.
Yeah, hold on, Nico. Yeah, I dropped their website and their Twitter in the description, guys, so I made it real easy for you guys.
Yeah, go check out Brains, guys. Don't trust that factory software. Anyways, guys, that was our show. Thank you so much for joining us. Another episode of Simply Bitcoin. If you enjoyed the show, you know what to do. Smash that like button. Consider hitting that subscribe button if you feel like we provided you value. The number one thing you could do to push this peaceful revolution forward is share this video. In fact, share all Bitcoin content. Wake up the NPCs. Give them that orange pill. Guys, like we said, we are not going to have a show until Thursday. Thursday, we're going to be doing a live show from the Pacific Bitcoin Conference. Next week, we're going to be back to normal. But if you guys still want your Simply Bitcoin fix, Opti is going to be uploading shorts, clips, and also if you want, check out the news, wake up call. It's every morning. Our own Rustin Watts drops the sauce. Anyways, guys, we love you all. We will see you on Thursday for another episode of Simply Bitcoin.
Which one's the best crypto asset? Well, Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Okay. What's the second best? There is no second best.